train. You get to where you're going in a hurry. Hurry, 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 now it's coming. Can't you hear the rails go humming? Leota, if you should miss the air train, you miss the quickest way to get to Harlem. When you're launching a new product.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's try it one more time. Good afternoon. Hey, what a delight it is to be here today. And I'm Ricky Harvey, pastor of Mount Olivet Baptist Church, and I'm here today, one, to say welcome. And to know that you feel welcome, I want you to put your hands together and just give. And that's how I know that you feel good and you are glad to be here. You are as glad to be here as we are to have you here. I want to say to the Mount Olivet Church, thank you for hosting this great event here. Welcome to our visitors from Rochester and Brockport. And I want to say, as my notes are straightening out, I also want to say that you're welcome to participate in every way that this program calls for your participation. Okay? We're excited over the opportunity to bring this wonderful symphony orchestra to Rochester for a community performance. We're excited to welcome Bach's Children's Chorus to Mount Olivet. We're excited about our friend, Mr. Herb Smith, our friend, Mr. Herb Smith. We're excited about our friend, Mr. Herb Smith of the RPO, as our musical director, narrator, and performing with his group, Freedom Trio. So really, why don't we put our hands together and let's welcome Mr. Herb Smith.
Well, thank you for that opening there, Pastor. Are you guys ready to have a nice concert tonight? Today, rather. Well, if the Catholic Church can have saints, I think we should have saints too. You know, the problem with having saints, though, is to me it kind of raises one person above another. And I believe that God created us all equal. You know, we're all equal. You know, if your life was 10 years, if your life was 30 years, if your life was 80 years, it's equally important in the eyes of the creator, the universe, God. But, you know, since we're talking about saints, let's just go there a little bit. What if we had Saint Harriet, right, of strength and longevity? What if we had Saint Martin of speech, right? What if we had Saint Malcolm, the saint of power? What if we had Saint Langston, the saint of poetry? What about Saint Louis, the saint of jollity, right? And, you know, I don't know, Pastor Harvey is pretty awesome. I'm not going to make you a saint yet, because usually you have to die first. But, you know, it's like there are people among us that have done just wonderful things and have really influenced the world and probably some planets beyond Earth. So I would like to say that we should call him Saint Duke. Saint Duke Ellington is what I think we should call him. I Googled Duke Ellington's influence on American music, and it said his influence is immeasurable. Immeasurable. To me, that means that any music that we listen to pretty much after him, in some way or form, was influenced by him. He created symphonies, he created small group, he had a big band, he had all these different things that he created. And it's awesome for us today to be able to just kind of celebrate that a little bit. You know, his bands have been around for 100 years, and the impact of that music is continuing. It's never gonna stop. It's never gonna stop. So without any further ado, we have the Brockport. How about a hand for the Brockport Symphony right here? And we are going to have, the first tune is Duke Ellington, arranged by Calvin Custer, and that will be followed by a tribute by Josiah. So how about a hand for our concert master to come on out here and get the orchestra tuned up? And we're going to hear them play Duke Ellington. Right.
Good afternoon. My name is Josiah Sheffield. First, I'd like to thank Peggy Harvey Lee for the opportunity to read her poem. Duke Ellington. Born Edward Kenny Ellington in 1899, he became Duke because his mother dressed him fine. Both parents played piano. He took lessons not too far to go. They were given by his mom's friend. He wasn't interested and wanted them to end. Washington, D.C. was his city of birth. Studied commercial art in high school, not music at first. He loved playing baseball, sold peanuts at games, started sneaking in pool hallways, and was never the same. At age 14, much to his delight, the music he heard made him ignite. Duke began to study and love his piano lessons. He listened to unusual artists who became blessings. His first composition he called Soda Fountain Rag. Working as soda jerket was in the bag. He would hear strange music while vacationing with his mom, sheet music that was familiar but sometimes a bomb. Musicians turned music sheets upside down and played the notes with an unusual sound. That sound knew rhythm stayed in his head. Musician mystery, never played, never said. Duke turned a scholarship to Pratt Institution. 3 months before high school graduation, he gave it the boot. Assembling a music group in 1917, he played for dance parties, building his dream. His first group, called the Duke Serenaders, in the phone book advertisement, it read colored syncopators. Part of the vivid music and art scene, Harlem was the place for dynamic human beings. Duke contributed nationally and internationally too. There were no limits to what he could do. His legacy is dynamic, his music is divine. These compositions he wrote are a rare find. He played in Harlem's Cotton Club, wrote scores for plays. Duke wrote music for movies many a day. Sometimes others took credit for his work. Understand he still got paid. His smile was a smirk. One of his favorite pieces, It Don't Mean a Thing, is a jazzy tune if it ain't got a swing. Let's not forget Sophisticated Lady and Take a A-Train that was never a shady. There isn't enough words or time to share about the musical genius who lived his life and dared.
How about keep clapping for Josiah? Fantastic. That's awesome. It's just good to see youth up here, isn't it? Just good to see that. For composers like Duke Ellington, they wrote a lot of music, but sometimes they didn't always do all of the arrangements. They had other people write out the parts for the band. And in 1944, Duke Ellington was looking for someone to arrange some of his music, and he was searching around, and he found this young 18-year-old young man, that was beginning to start to arrange things. That young person was Quincy Jones, right? Quincy Jones. So Quincy Jones and Duke Ellington have a long, long history of writing pieces, and Quincy Jones wrote arrangements for Duke Ellington. Sometimes for me, it's like putting two worlds together. You're like, oh wow, Quincy Jones was back there with Duke Ellington? It's like, yeah, no, like they were peers for a while. Well, Quincy was younger. So for this next tune, it's a perfect melding to have this tune being played here for this honoring of Duke Ellington. So we have Soul Bossa Nova by Quincy Jones, arranged by Johnny Benson. Thank you, Jonathan and Brockport Symphony. Thank you. Duke Ellington was a master of jazz, but he was heavily influenced by classical music. He studied classical music as a child, and incorporated many elements of classical music into his jazz compositions. In 1943, actually wrote, I don't know if you've heard of a tune, a pretty famous tune by him called Black, Brown, and Beige. And it basically was chronicling the different colors of African-American people, of black people, black, brown, and beige. He actually used some Gregorian chant as part of his influence to write that piece. You know, Gregorian chants, you know, that kind of stuff, right? He actually used that. He had so many different influences, but classical music was such a big part of his wheelhouse. He worked with people like Itzhak Perlman, Yo-Yo Ma, you know, Yo-Yo Ma, the big cellist guy, Yo-Yo Mama. And he composed a suite for an orchestra called Suite Thursday that actually used music from Sebastian Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, and was premiered by the New York Philharmonic. So he had a very heavy thing of classical music. So for us to play something that's more like in a classical vein now is also part of how the broad spectrum of what Duke Ellington brought to us. So the next piece we have here is an arrangement of The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns, and the arranger and cello soloist is here right here. Larry Fagan is the arranger and cellist. Give a hand for Larry, he's gonna do this. No pressure, Larry, no pressure. No pressure. And then after that, we have Malachi is gonna come up here and do a little Duke Ellington tribute.
Good afternoon. My name is Malachi Grant from Edward Kennedy, known as Duke Ellington, was born in April 29, 1899 in Washington, D.C. He's best known as an American jazz pianist, composer, songwriter, and band leader of the Duke Ellington Jazz Orchestra. As a young boy, he took piano lessons but was actually more interested in baseball. His mother, Daisy Kennedy Ellington, surrounded her son with dignified women to reinforce his manners and live elegantly. His friends noticed how well-mannered he was and his dapper dress. They thought of him as a young nobleman and started calling him Duke. Duke was one of the originators of the big band jazz. He gave American music its own sound for the first time. He led his band for over 50 years and composed thousands of scores. In 1927, he started to play at New York's world-famous Cotton Club in Harlem. He played the piano and directed an 11-piece band. Although he was the main attraction, Duke let other members shine. Every musician showed off his style. This was an innovation to the big band music style and part of what made Duke a jazz legend. Duke's music was admired around the world. The Ellington Orchestra traveled to Europe, Latin America, the Middle East, as well as Asia. The people enjoyed listening to Coco, Satin Doll, Take the A Train, just to name a few of his popular songs. Duke Ellington had deep roots in the Christian faith. He was brought up by his parents in the Baptist and AME Zion churches. He knew many hymns in the Bible or stories by heart. He wrote and produced 3 sacred music concerts that were performed throughout the world in churches and cathedrals. Songs such as Come Sunday, The Lord's Prayer, In the Beginning, and many more sacred songs. Duke Ellington left a legacy of music for the world to enjoy. His music changed the world of music and is continued to be enjoyed. Today you will experience the delight in the jazz of Mr. Duke Ellington.
Keep clapping for Malachi. Fantastic, man. Fantastic. Fantastic. So sometimes when Duke Ellington's band would travel, they would find themselves in between gigs, and they would just be like at a hotel someplace in a city. And there was a story about one of the trumpet players, his room was messed up or something. His room was messed up, so he ended up having a time. He slept in the same suite with Duke Ellington. I'm getting my thoughts straight here. Okay, so he ended up being in Duke Ellington's suite, and he was really excited about that because Duke Ellington always got like a suite, and part of his thing was his room had to have a grand piano in it. If it didn't have a grand piano in it, then he wasn't staying there. So it was always a nice big suite. And he was like, okay, good, I get to hang in Duke Ellington's room. You know, that's going to be nice. But what he didn't know is that Duke Ellington was in the middle of composing one of his long pieces. Sometimes the pieces would be 45 minutes long. And one of the ways that he would compose would be to compose music for 2 hours, sleep for 2 hours, get up, compose for another 2 hours, sleep for 2 hours, and he would do that sometimes for a day, sometimes 2 days, just to stay in that mode so he could come out with a homogenic piece. And he was staying in that same mode until the piece was finished. So he was happy to be with Duke, but he wasn't so happy to be woken up every 2 hours to hear Duke composing. So this next piece we have here is a piece that was composed by Al right here. This is the composer right here, and it's called Waiting. Now I talked to him earlier today, and I said, well, what was the impetus of this piece? And I think you said you were waiting for your wife or something. You were in the car and you were waiting for your wife, and this tune kind of came over you. And, no cell phone. Yeah, no cell phone, and it's that like weirder things have come from smaller, impetus of smaller things. So we're going to hear his composition called Waiting, and then we will hear Chicago, music from the musical Chicago, arranged by Victor Lopez. So take it away.
This piece I put together probably about 30 years ago, and the idea was to kind of emulate what was going on in the 70s when jazz musicians started to be less relevant. And their only solution was to take it into the studio and add orchestra backup. So this is going to have kind of that 70s sound. It's a Latin, a bossa kind of thing. But rather than bring in Wes Montgomery to cover the guitar part, we have instead Vicky Fredlin Feathers. Did I pronounce that right? Yeah, on flute, and you'll see why. A beautiful sound. Okay, so here's Waiting.
right, thank you. Now I'm going to welcome up the Bach Children's Chorus of Rochester. They've been together for over 30 years. Not these kids. That's funny, though. Yeah, those are some young kids, aren't they? But yeah, this organization has been around for over 30 years under the direction of Carla Krogstad, and they play with the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra for the Nutcracker. I've had the pleasure of playing with them for a Harriet Tubman concert that I conducted with RPO, and they've been a real treasure to Rochester. And what's going to happen now is there's going to be 3 pieces that are going to be played. Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz, I Got Rhythm by George Gershwin, and It Don't Mean a Thing. Now, the thing about musicals and Duke Ellington is just when Duke Ellington was writing his songs, a lot of his songs had words, they had lyrics, they were singers. You can name all of the singers that sang his songs. And when you listen to musicals today and later, they were heavily influenced by the way Duke composed. So here we have Over the Rainbow, I Got Rhythm, and It Don't Mean a Thing.
Days can be sunny with never a sigh. Don't need what money can buy. Birds in the trees sing their day full of song. Why don't we sing along? I'm chipper all the day, happy with my love. How do I get that way? Look at what I got.
When Duke tickled these piano keys of black and white, he'd created a sound filled with darkness and light, a sound so complex some could not understand how this musical genius could be a black man. Born in 1899 in the heart of the sea, his mom and dad both were gifted musically. And so there it was that his lessons began. In those 88 keys, he would find a friend. And with this friend, he'd create a new sound, a big band explosion that could not be bound by those so-called rules of melody and rhyme. The Duke was the master ahead of his time. His collection of work includes 1,000 songs. It's the biggest in jazz. That's why he belongs in the history books. That his scores helped to shape American music that we now create. He was so smooth with a radiant smile, and a charisma infectious, and impeccable style. That's why there's no question. No, it's not a fluke. He's the master. He's the maestro. We call him the Duke.
Mackenzie Mitchell, everybody. How about one more hand for the Bach Children's Chorus? Now, just so you know, they need more kids. So and from the Knack School of Music is where they meet, and they're looking for more kids. So I would like to see some more kids in there. Definitely, that would be a good thing. Yes. And another hand for the Brockport Symphony. Yes. Yes, yes. So now I can take off my jacket. I can take off my jacket. I can get my trumpet out. I can play a little bit. This first tune we're going to do is a Duke Ellington song called Things Ain't What They Used to Be. Things Ain't What They Used to Be. And the impetus of this song was Duke getting older and just thinking about, things ain't what they used to be. You could take that in a lot of different ways. Things ain't what they used to be. So here we go. Things ain't what they used to be. Hope you enjoy it. Things ain't what they used to be. But sometimes that's a good thing, right? Things ain't what they used to be. You can't get away with some of the things you used to be able to get away with now, right? The next tune we have is a tune, a classic tune. Before I tell you what tune it was interesting when we were figuring out this concert, and I knew that there were going to be a whole lot of Duke Ellington tunes. I was like, oh my goodness, well, I hope, there'll be enough Duke Ellington tunes for us to do some. It's like, of course there's going to be enough Duke Ellington tunes. There's thousands of Duke Ellington tunes. So this next tune is a classic called A-Train. This next Duke Ellington song is one of my favorite songs, Caravan. But I do it in a little bit of a different thing. I'm going to need a little bit of audience participation on this. It's usually done in 4, but I like to do it in 7. Okay? There must be some musicians in the house because people started groaning. Oh, 7. Oh. But it's not that hard. All you have to think of is count to 7, then go back to 1. Then count to 7, then go back to 1. And just keep repeating that. So it kind of, let's just practice it. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you, Caravan. And so we're going to play one more tune for you. And I need some more audience participation for this. It's a tune called Sea Jam Blues. And there's words to it. All right, the words are, baby, take me down to Duke's place. So you can look at someone and say, baby, take me down to Duke's place. All right? Let me hear it. And it goes like this. Oh, wow. I was going to give you a little shot first. So it goes like this. Baby, take me down to, I want to again, and. Yeah, one more time. Baby, take me down to Duke's place. Keep going with that. Joe Parker, drums. Zach Walgren, bass. I'm Herb Smith, trumpet. Thank you. How about a hand for the Brockport Symphony? John Ollentoff, music director. How about a hand for the Bach Children's Chorus? Carla Krogstad, music director, back there, yes. How about a hand for Mount Olivet Church? Now let's bring to close it out, Saint Pastor Ricky Harvey.
Baby, take me down to Duke's place. Take me down to Duke's place. Listen, let me tell you something. I have the worst rhythm of anybody in this place. Tonight, I will be in my bed saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. I couldn't even keep the count. I got lost in the count. So I'm going to have to talk to Herb Smith, and he's going to have to teach me how to keep that count. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can we just clap our hands for having a wonderful time tonight? Yeah, what a wonderful time. What a wonderful time we have had tonight. We so appreciate all of you for coming out. And Brother Herb Smith, would y'all do it for Brother Herb Smith? Stand up, Brother Herb. Thank you. Give it to him. Give it to him. I think before I go any further, make sure we don't forget the mastermind behind this for all of us was Sister Jamila Evans Rogers. Yeah. Jamila Evans Rogers, yeah. She returned to Rochester maybe a year ago. 2 years ago, and she is so connected in this city with all of the people that you need to connect with. She's connected with those people. She is a publicist, and I get to say now to people, talk to my publicist. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Jamila, for an excellent job. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Mount Olivet, for your support. Thank you, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Want to say a big thank you to the visitors from Rochester and Brockport. Give yourselves a hand. Give them a hand. Visitors from Rochester. And then I think a great big thanks goes to, as Herb has said, to Jonathan Allentoff. The Brockport Symphony, it's already been done, but we can't do it enough. Carla Krogstad and the Bach Children's Chorus, you've done it once, let's do it again. Can't forget about our own performers here from the Mount Olivet Church. Will you give all of our children a hand? Our children, Mackenzie, stand. Our children, stand. Where's Malachi? All right, all right. All right. We have some famous people in the making right here among us here at the Mount Olivet Church, and I'm so excited about it. One of the things I hear all the time, come here, Malachi, one of the things I hear all the time is that our children can't read. Wait. My rhythm is bad. When I say go down and jump, you go down and I'm gonna try to pick you up. Go down, not jump. Oh! This young man can read. This young man can read. I mean, it's like my soul got happy watching this young man read. Amen. Give him a hand. Yeah. So I can stay here all day and say thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, let me tell you that next Sunday morning, our service starts at 10 o'clock a.m., and we will welcome all of you to be here. Listen, I just came from Israel, and Rabbi Stein, Peter Stein is here. Let's give him a hand. Stand up, Rabbi. And next Sunday, what's traditionally known as Palm Sunday in the Christian church, and it still is. The subject will be Lamb Selection Day. We're going to talk about that next Sunday. And then next Monday morning at 5 o'clock a.m. Just to make sure you heard me, everybody say 5 o'clock a.m. I know you think that I'm crazy. Mount Olivet thought I was crazy when I brought a service to them and said, let's do service 5 days, Monday through Friday, coming up to Easter. It's Holy Week. Let's have service at 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to understand, I came here from Tucson, Arizona, and they said to me that Rochester, New York is not like Arizona, but they blindly went out on the limb, and it's been a life-changing service for us. And our friends who've never attended it, we would just like to invite you to at least try it one morning next week. If you've never tried it, never heard of it, there are brochures outside of the door. Please don't leave out of here without getting a brochure, and try it one of those mornings. It starts at 5, we have breakfast at 6:30, and we go home. So try that for us next week. It's called Holy Week here at Mount Olivet. Blessings to you. I'm going to say a closing prayer just to say thank you and blessings to you as you go home. And be careful on your way home. Let us all stand. Father, we thank you for our time together. We just pray for safety for all of us who are here, that you would allow us to make it to our destinations safe. We thank you for new friends. We thank you for old friends. We thank you for the young people, the Symphony, the university, and we just pray that all will continue to be well with our homes, with our bodies, with our traveling back and forth. We just ask for your blessings, and we ask these blessings in your name, and we all say amen. Good night.